Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the installment of the Beyond Report. Now, if you didn't join us last month, Beyond Report goes over the events of the current Spider-Man Beyond story taking place for the foreseeable future in Amazing Spider-Man, as well as certain tie-in issues, namely the .BEY, the occasional .BEY issues that will be popping up, which appear to be showing up about once a month. So, anyway, let's get started, shall we? First off, where we left off, in month one, Ben Reilly had come back into New York. He'd apparently been hired by the Beyond Corporation to be Spider-Man, as they own the trademark after buying out Parker Industries, or at least buying it from Parker Industries. While in a he and Peter took on the UFOs together at ESU, and while Ben's costume is designed to be much more resilient against, say, radiation, well, Peter's is not. Peter's is, it's just his costume. It's, it doesn't, it's designed to work with his powers. That's it. And Peter got a rather healthy, unhealthy would be a better way of putting it, dose of radiation poisoning, courtesy of X-ray of the UFOs. This would end up placing Peter in a coma. The doctors had no idea what's going on. And Peter and MJ and Aunt May have been at his bedside ever since. But Ben took down the UFOs and was on another patrol when he came upon Morbius, who promptly attacked him and took a bite out of him. So we pick up in Amazing Spider-Man number 78, pretty much directly after that. But Ben goes over what he knows, that, okay, yeah, Morbius has bitten Peter previously and, used his blood in an attempt to help himself, to, help reverse his condition. However, Ben's blood doesn't have the same effect that Peter's would have. A quick theory is that it could be because of the cloning process. But so Ben manages to I wouldn't say escape, but at least lead Morbius on a chase back to Beyond headquarters. And well, like as mentioned, it's a chase, so yeah, Morbius followed, and for his trouble gets his arm blasted off by the security measures. Morbius leaves to lick his wounds. Security shows up to take Ben to the hospital wing, and now both Ben and Peter are out of commission, at least, albeit briefly in Ben's case. His girlfriend, Francine, is also concerned, as MJ is concerned about Peter. Makes for a nice parallel. During all this, what is the head of the Beyond Corporation who has to approve the anti-vampirism use of the anti-vampire the vampiric antidote they've got on Ben. But Maxine kind of says, hey, let's not be too hasty on administering the antidote. This could lead to some interesting side effects. But in the end, she decides that no, that's actually a bad idea. Go ahead and administer the antidote. which makes me kind of think that we're probably going to be seeing a vampire Spidey over the course of this. Um, Back at McCarthy Medical Center, where Peter's staying, Black Cat slips in and comes to see him, and is caught by MJ. However, while Felicia's there, Peter moves, raises a finger. The usual chilly reception between of MJ to Black Cat is kind of, is set aside by the fact that this is the first time he's moved since he's been in the hospital. So MJ says, "Hey, look, if you being here will help him get out of this, by all means, stick around. Just, not in costume." Elsewhere, the Daughters of the Dragon, Misty Knight and Colleen Wing, have tracked down Morbius for Beyond Corporation and are subduing him, with Beyond Corp drones circling and watching their every move. They managed to take him down using one of the gadgets that Beyond Corporation has provided Spiderman, Spinneret, which is a restraining device, when their drones are destroyed by a new arrival, Monica Rambeau. She led the Avengers once. Also, yes, former member of Next Wave. But it turns out that Misty and Colleen are gathering intelligence for Monica on Beyond. Later, Ben and Francine are on a date. They've gone to a movie. Apparently, Ben fell asleep during the movie and snored loudly. But someone is watching. That someone being Craven the Hunter. And that is where the Universe of the 8 ends. Which, of course, brings us to, momentarily, because reasons, Amazing Spider-Man number 79. Now, one thing to note with Beyond is as a revolving creative team. I want to those first few, at least number 78 was written, and I think 77 were written by Kelly Thompson. Whereas issues 79 and 80 are being written by Cody Ziegler. Also, the art team is different with each writer. But, so yeah, Craven. We actually begin with some Beyond employees at a party one night, and one of them is on his way home, drunk, and it starts raining, and he's, singing in the rain, and suddenly he's attacked. Later, Ben's going through a firmware update to his spider armor. Though in his monologue he explains that he explains that he did his own firmware update recently and installed something new. Do not disturb mode. Then he goes to visit Peter. They talk a bit, but Ben talks to Peter. Peter's still comatose. However, there's a runaway armored car, and so Ben goes after it, stops the armored car, but he's got to call one of the bigwigs of the company. Something's happened at their penthouse. Finds the bigwig unconscious. There's an explosion, and Craven shows up. So Ben fights Craven, and ends up getting shot with a whole bunch of what initially appeared to be tranq darts, but not so much tranquilizers, but quasi-tranquilizer, quasi-other things. And yeah, Ben is tripping balls seeing Craven as an angel with a flaming skull, flaming head. I wouldn't say flaming skull, just flaming head. Yeah. Which brings us to our next book on the list, Amazing Spider-Man number 80. It's large, but by and large, it's Ben versus Craven. Turns out Craven had. First off, we get Ben all tripped out and fighting, trying to fight Craven, but also dealing with a lot of his own neuroses at the moment. Like, you know, kind of a lot of it comes down to whether or not, you know, is he really Spider-Man? I mean, he's just a clone of Peter Parker, you know. But yeah, however, he oh, as Janine, not Francine. I don't know why I was thinking Francine for the girlfriend, but yeah, he beyond they're freaking out because they have no idea where he is. Janine is trying to call his handlers and makes some very interesting threats. But yeah, Maxine is informed. Lots of eens. And elsewhere, Ben comes too. Patched up, and apparently there are other beyond the missing Beyond Corp employees are all at the location that Craven's brought them to. One of them, the one we saw in the beginning, has some pills from the pharmaceutical division. They're supposed to be a cure-all for migraines and head colds. He uses them for hangovers mostly. Same ballpark. Which Ben, as he takes them, is saying same ballpark, so doing a lot of heavy lifting there. But turns out it's a Beyond algae collecting facility that makes their algae burgers. So, but the headache pills, they do the trick. It takes a little bit for them to kick in, but little by little, Craven begins to look like Craven, not flaming-headed angel Craven. But Ben beats the hell out of him in the plant, and but, well, when Craven falls into a vat full of algae, he triggers an explosive, and yeah. Whether or not he's dead or not is to be seen, but, you know, in my opinion, nah. He returns home. He's explain what happened, and he's given the day off. But meanwhile, Maxine is taking care of other business too. Well, there's another Spider-Man in town, and as the Beyond Corporation does currently own the copyright for the trademark of Spider-Man, well, something must be done about this Spider-Man of Brooklyn. You know, Miles Morales, and that is where the main issues end. We still have, however, one more book to look at, and that would be Amazing Spider-Man number 78.BEY. So, much like previous certain events, I think during the Spencer, at least during the next Spencer run, last rights, and there were a few others that had point and then the initials of the story. We're getting the occasional additional tie-in, basically, which is telling side stories. As you can tell from the cover, this one focuses on the Daughters of the Dragon. So they're going. It starts at the end of the story. But that morning, Ben was going through a training scenario that had been designed by Colleen. Basically, Avengers Murder Mansion. Dealing with a hockey masked Iron Man, Freddy Krueger Giant Man. I'm not. I think that's supposed to be Captain Chainsaw Massacre. Or maybe, yeah, it's Captain Chainsaw Massacre. And of course, running into the final girl, Misty Knight. But he did at least, get some good, learn some things from the Hollow, or from the training sim. The spider sense is great for alerting him to threats, but with enough threats to keep it going off all the time, he can get blindsided. But Maxine has an additional job for them. There's a creature rampaging downtown, and well, it does kind of, as employees, it can be put in their purview. So they're contractors. So they go to check it out. They've got all manner of fun gadgets to play with, courtesy of the Beyond Corporation. And they trigger the training simulator sim, along with the extra dimensional entity they're going up against. And so they had to deal with the Avengers Murder Mansion. So I mentioned they have fun gadgets from Beyond. We've got the Beyond Corporation Sanjuro Vibro Katana, Bug Off High Intensity Insecticide, Whoops, All Scorpions, a classic. Ham R Hand, a glove that which creates the force as though you were the Hulk punching someone. Out Damn Spot Stain Remover. And there's, of course, one more which we'll get to later. But one potential issue is that the Obsidian Star, the creature that they're fighting, well, the power source was interacting with the pocket battlefield, which is creating some kind of feedback loop. Meaning that the Daughter of the Dragon are trapped in the pocket battlefield, not Obsidian Star. Obsidian Star is the pocket battlefield. So they basically have to fight their way out, and they've got one more Beyond Corp gadget to use as they make their way out to the haunted house. Beyond Corporation do not use under any circumstances antimatter bomb, not for mass market. Yet. But they defeat Obsidian Star, and his power source is ripped out. But Maxine asks just, what happened to the power source? Though Colleen says, what power source? Misty dug around inside the chest for ages and didn't find anything. I mean, aside from, well, a star-shaped, obsidian star-shaped object. But the two of them take days off and deliver the Obsidian Star to none other than Monica Rambeau, because she knows just where it needs to go. My guess is on the white ringer shirt of a man who's forgotten his name because he's had so many damn code names over the years. What is it? What is this man's name, you might ask? Why, his name's the Captain. And that is where the issue ends. Which brings us to the end of this month's Beyond Report. Of course, beginning of next month, we'll be back with next month's Beyond Report for month 3. Now, a quick note: yes, I am aware that we covered on the weekly comic roundup. This most recent one, which was basically the first one for December, we did cover Amazing Spider-Man number 80. I'm including it here because it was before certain issues happened for Marvel. It was supposed to release Thanksgiving week, not the first week of December. So it was intended to be a November release. So I'm going with that intention, basically, if that makes sense. But anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.